Welcome to Coming Home with Mama T. I'm your host, Tiara, aka Mama T, and on this podcast, we explore the journey of creating the life of our desires through mastering manifestation, maintaining a positive mindset, and living luxuriously. And I love that we live luxuriously, and in speaking of living luxuriously, I want to talk about this word indulgence, because I am finding myself redefining my experience with indulging and indulgence. For me, in this life, I feel like I love luxury. I love decadence. I love this feeling of the richness and opulence of life. And indulgence is one of those words that I feel is associated with the opulent and the royalty and the riches and the je ne sais quoi of life. And I have found that when I think about when I use the word indulging in terms of oh, I'm gonna have an indulgent night, I feel like there's a little bit of shame attached to it, or I am creating space for myself to excuse behavior that I don't fully align with. So I have used the word indulge in terms of overindulging on food or beverage, and it's come to my attention, one, that yes, the holidays are a time where I definitely allow myself more grace when it comes to indulging in food and all of that, and getting to a place of overindulging. But really, I am also coming to a place of understanding that indulgence to me is about savoring the moment and the experience. And I don't necessarily need to eat past a point of fullness, or past a point of satisfaction for me to feel indulgent, right? I don't need to drink past a certain point to feel indulgent. I can have a moderate experience and still have an indulgent experience, because I am slowing down enough to savor and be present in the moment. I find that when I get to a place of what we say overindulgence is putting on more than what is a satisfactory experience, to a place where we now feel discomfort. We've eaten more than what is satisfactory, and now we feel discomfort. We have danced longer than what our body really wanted to do, and now we're sore. And soreness, for me, it's okay, whatever. I'm happy with it, especially when it comes to movement, because it's how can I be mad at myself for dancing the night away? I can just take an ice bath and a hot bath, and at some point it does feel like I did something good for my body. But on the flip side, there are things that don't feel that great for my body, and so then there will be a level of shame associated with it afterwards, because I'm well, why did I choose to do that? Yes, so I am bringing awareness to the fact that I can indulge without bringing upon discomfort to my mind, my body, and my spirit. I can have a positive experience and still indulge in it by savoring the moment, by slowing down, which I feel like I talk about so frequently, right? The importance of slowing down. When we slow down, we force ourselves to truly be in the moment. We force ourselves to listen. We force ourselves to think. We force ourselves to be a part of the experience, to actually participate in the experience. And thus we are now conscious of what is going on around us and through us, to us, from us, all of that thing. We are a part of the experience. Right? We're not some entity looking in. We are taking ownership for our experience as well. I think that is super, super important, right? When we get to a place where we're kind of just robots, right? We're just kind of allowing whatever's happening to continue to happen. That's definitely for me where I can notice the overindulgence, where I'm just I'm in a situation, I'm in a space where everyone's eating, everyone's drinking, everyone's dancing, everyone's loud and boisterous, and things are just getting crazy and getting out of hand and whatever, and it's lively and it's wild and whatever, and then I stop and I'm wait a minute, what am I doing? How how much have I experienced tonight, and do I even remember, or am I fully like connected to what am I experiencing? For example, I went to a party recently and there were so many people. There was like so many people and I knew a whole lot of them. And so there was just like such an overabundance. And while I'm thankful that like, oh my gosh, I have so many friends and connections, and it's awesome that I get to like pop and say hi to this person and this person and this person and this person and this person. But to a certain point, like, what was the quality of the conversation if I'm so busy? Like if I'm like, hi, how are you? Hug, and then like jumping to the next person, hi, how are you? Like at some point, I have to slow down to truly appreciate the conversation that I'm having and fully like build that relationship that I'm having with another person. And that goes for all aspects of our life. We have to slow down to fully appreciate the food and the time it took to prepare it and the quality of ingredients that are in it. We have to slow down to fully appreciate the ambrosia that is this glass of wine or bourbon or whatever, and the time it took the distiller and the maker, the vintner, to create it. We have to slow down to appreciate the fact that like, hey, this tree behind me wasn't a tree overnight. Like it took its time to bloom and blossom. This mint plant took its time to bloom and blossom, and I take time to sing to it and water it and nourish it. So we have to sing and water and nourish our experiences, right? We have to savor our experiences to fully get that oomph moment, that excitement every single moment of our lives. And I know for me, that is my goal. That is what I'm carrying with me, is how can I enjoy each and every moment? How can I live deeper every single day? And living deeper means slowing down and, detaching a lot of meaning to any of the things and just really just being present, right? I have a tendency to overanalyze a situation, right? So like I could be in a situation and rather than, and like, someone might say something and I'm like, what do they mean by that? or what could this all mean on a, not so much what do they mean by that, because if I'm talking to somebody and I don't understand them, I'm going to ask them what it is that they meant, because I don't have time for the conjecture of like somebody else's like trying to create some sort of dual relationship where they say one thing but they actually mean another. Like if they mean another thing, I don't really care. I don't want to know. Like I would prefer them to speak up. That's what I mean. It's not that I don't want to know, but I don't want to spend the time to try to investigate somebody else's like backhanded comment. Like if they what they're doing is what they're doing, and that's like none of my business, right? So I am here for like this full, like truthful, like living experience. I want something that has depth and joy and love into it, and that is the indulgence, that is the decadence of life, right? And that's why that's why I love food, right? Like there's depth to a really good meal. They call it soul food because there is so much love put into this. There is nourishment, there is a lot of the herbs and the spices. Traditionally speaking, families, especially from like if you do research into like African American cooking and slavery and the herbs and the spices used and what their spiritual meanings are for, and utilizing cinnamon for some confidence and maybe for the like anti-inflammatory purposes and properties. There's so many properties that go along with these things. So down the line, we might have removed ourselves from the spiritual and the healing aspect of what it is that we're putting into our food. But there's always been this, like, you cook with love. I know growing up how I learned how to cook was like, you cook with love and you sprinkle, you just know when you need to stop using the seasoning. I know it's become really popular on TikTok and social media for you to say, like, your ancestors are going to just tell you when to stop. And that is so true. Like, it's just an intuitive knowing of like, okay, like like, all right, I got seasoning salt. Ooh, actually, you know what? I'm going to grab that. Like something is telling me to grab this. And you can say it's your ancestors. You can say it's God. You can say whatever it is that you believe in, but it is intuition. It is our own personal connection with this experience. And it is elevating it on a level that's just outside of like the robotic spirit, like physical doing of it. It is a connection of the mind, the body, and the spirit. And that's why I love, like I love leaning into the cooking and the herbs and all of that kind of stuff when it comes to this kind of conversation, because it makes such an easy metaphor for other things in our lives, because we can apply so many different concepts and thoughts to different aspects of our life, right? So when we're looking at our life and we're looking at our every single day, how do we indulge more in a way that feels good and wholesome and fulfilling to us, in a way that is full of wellness for ourselves? Yes? How can we savor each moment of each day? I think part of it is making sure that we're doing things that we enjoy doing, right? We're eating foods that we enjoy eating. We are spending time with people that we enjoy spending time with. We are taking actions that are in alignment with our morals, that are in alignment with our desires, that are in alignment with things that we actually believe in, and really taking action towards it. Yes? Oh, 1111, hi, thank you. I love these kind of moments, and I love these kind of conversations, and I really want to bring that aspect into the membership community that we will be opening up here pretty soon. I'm honestly, it's just like, I feel like the trigger is almost there to pull. It's just making sure that everything looks perfect for the website and for you guys to have an easy experience in terms of getting signed up and ready to rock and roll with it. But in this membership, that's the kind of conversation I want to have with you. I want to be able to talk to you about what you're experiencing and how we can tweak it and move forward. I feel like the energy of this sacred space is like a wellness center for your mind, your body, and your spirit, right? We're going to move in this space. We're going to converse and create community and connect in this space. We are going to talk about our spirituality, and I will share my own personal practices in this space. I will share recipes in this space and what I'm personally working on and growing and building and our own like spiritual grimoire in that space. If that's not your thing, that's totally okay. You're still welcome to be a part of it. That's just not something you have to participate in. But if you're like, hey, I'm at least here and open and ready to learn and grow, I can take what resonates with me and leave what doesn't, this is a space for you. And so I'm really excited for how we are growing and expanding and looking into this whole new world. I am indulging in this aspect of life, in this aspect of business creation, and sharing these things with you, because I really feel like it's like the virtual experience of coming into my own actual home, right? Like you come over, I'm gonna cook, I'm gonna give you wine or another libation that suits what your palate is. We're gonna end up talking eventually. I feel like anytime anybody comes to my house, like I end up talking to somebody about something about their life, offering some sort of advice or pulling cards or divination in some sort of way, shape, or form. Like all these things just naturally happen, and I want that to be that kind of space, right? You feel at home, you feel at ease, you feel connected, and you feel one with yourself. You feel self-led and guided, and you just feel the space is supported, right? You know how to do, you know how to live, you know how to be, you are self-led, and you have these choices, and you have the ability to do so much great things. And we're here to support you and hold you accountable for actually following through what it is you already know you can do. So I'm excited for that space, and I'm also excited for the continuation of this podcast, Coming Home with Mama T. So if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. Please share with 3 of your friends that you know could utilize these kinds of messages, whether it's talking about mindset, manifesting, ritual work, meditations, all that goodness. Definitely please send this out, because we are building community. We're calling and 13 million people. Yeah, we're going to build this podcast up so it is huge and people can really listen in and connect in and grow. Right? Be inspired to live extraordinary lives because we all have the capacity to do so. You have the capacity to live an extraordinary life. You have to make the choices to do so. You have to, one, work through your mind. You have to have the awareness of who you are, what you want, where you want to be, maybe find out where the discrepancies are between them, then do the work. Do the work to shrink that space so that you are the version of yourself that you've always thought of yourself to be, because it's already within you. So shrink the space of actually living out the life that you've been wanting for yourself. You've already got it. It's already yours. That is why we desire it, right? It is already in our field, right? Our destiny, if you will. We've got it. So let's get after it. With that, I say ta-ta for now. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day, and I will catch you on the next one.